Oh, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. And today we're going to talk about something that I feel is very important. And it's something that needs to be discussed in severity, quite frankly, as it relates to the Cardano ecosystem and Cardano price and so forth. And first, I'm going to show you some things that I want you to process, because I'm not even sure that people fully are aware of what's happening on Cardano right now and what it means and what it's all about. What is the meaning behind decentralization and all of that. So we're going to go over some of these things, because I do think that we are at a very pivotal point in blockchain. And that point is something that, as the governments obviously appear to be changing their tone, okay, kind of a like, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And we have groups like BlackRock and others that are basically dipping their hands in the pond now. And we know, and there are other videos, if you want to know more about like the history of BlackRock and how that kind of company has come to be about and being as powerful as they are today, you know, basically between them and Vanguard and I think Blackstreet, I mean, they ultimately own pretty much every, you know, like pretty much every major company in the United States. Okay. I mean, they have an abundance of control, and their politics, their ideologies and all of that have obviously at least been attempted to transform the way we operate in the United States. And not only that, but literally in countries all over the globe, from Canada, Australia, many parts throughout the UK and so forth. And this isn't a political video, but I think we have to really acknowledge the way that perception has been attempted to be crafted on a global scale through a litany of narratives. Okay. And what does that mean for the general public? Now, and again, this isn't a political video, but these are things that I want people to really ponder. Okay. Now, what we first have to really understand is the Chang hard fork and what is involved in that hard fork. What does it mean? What is going to change in Cardano? Because it's going to be dramatic and for the better, unless some things happen. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive into this a bit. This is Cardano Explorer. Okay. There are currently 3,119 pools on the Cardano blockchain with almost 1 million delegators. Okay. Basically, the perception right now is, you know, when you think about the decentralization of Bitcoin, you think of basically the entire blockchain being distributed throughout the world through miners. And these miners are processing, very complex equations and things to establish its proof of work network. And these transactions on that blockchain are being processed as well. And as long as you've got thousands and thousands, I don't even know how many Bitcoin miners there are in the world today, but I'm sure there are probably maybe tens of thousands. I don't know, but they're all over the place. And each one of them is basically, maintaining an element of the blockchain so that there's no zero point of failure. If a mining farm in China falls, then you've got the rest of the mining farms throughout the world that are continuing to maintain that blockchain. So that is one element of decentralization. But there are other elements of decentralization, such as proof of work or proof of stake, which is ultimately what Cardano is. It's a proof of stake network. But this proof of stake network is functional because of all of these nodes, these pools, that are, people delegate their ADA to the node. It's not locked up. You still have full access to everything. You're just delegating to that pool and generating a passive yield, basically like my Crow node. This is my node. I've been operating this node for years now. There are currently 35.5 million ADA delegated to my node, and it's been doing very well. There are 1,518 delegators to the node. I pledged 100,000 ADA to this node at a time when, I could have pulled this out anytime I wanted. I let it go. I let it sit there. That's my dedication to the node and to what's happening in Cardano. But this is all basically in support of the decentralized nature of Cardano as a blockchain overall. And it's ultimately controlled by all of us delegating ADA to the nodes that are operating the system. If nodes go down anywhere in the world, the rest of the nodes maintain the blockchain, they continue. It's basically like mining, but it's obviously different than proof of work. Now, the Chang hard fork is going to bring about a significant system of changes in this Voltaire era of Cardano that is truly going to strengthen and solidify the decentralized nature of Cardano. So we're going to touch on a few of these notes. Cardano is now in the age of Voltaire, the final stage of the Cardano roadmap. The Voltaire era is when Cardano will become a fully decentralized network through the introduction of community governance, where all of the network stakeholders, i.e., everyone holding ADA, you, can have their say in the future development of the network. Now, through Cardano's hard fork combinator, Cardano uses a hard fork combinator to ensure that instead of the traditional restart associated with hard fork events on other blockchains, there is a smooth transition between protocol versions. It allows both the new and old versions of the ledger to run simultaneously for a period of time before the transition to the new version is complete. Okay? Now, the Chang hard fork is the event that kicks it all off, allowing for the bootstrapping of Cardano governance throughout 2024. There will be 3 main stages of this process. We're going to cover these 3 stages. Number 1, introduction of delegate representatives, or DREPs, an important feature of the community governance on Cardano. DREPs act like elected representatives, except users delegate their ADA instead of voting at a ballot box. Those interested in becoming DREPs should be able to begin registering in the second quarter of 2024. So I'm probably going to look deeper into this, because I personally wasn't 100% aware of how exactly this was going to work, but I'm going to try and participate in this with the Crow Note if I can. Cardano Constitution Convention, an event that will gather all governance representatives selected from the different workshops held all over the world through 2024 in Buenos Aires to draft the first version of the Cardano Constitution. This will form the basis of Cardano community-led governance. Number 3, the vote. To close out 2024, the Cardano community will vote on whether or not to ratify the first draft of the Cardano Constitution. If ratified, the Cardano Constitution will form the basis of the decentralized community governance processes and mechanisms through which the future direction of the Cardano blockchain is decided. This is all a very big deal. 2024 is going to be one of the biggest years for Cardano overall. Now, the Voltaire era. This is the era we are now in. This is the final roadmap era of the Cardano blockchain. This is the creme de la creme. This is the end all be all of what Cardano has been designed to do from inception. When both a voting and treasury system are in place, Cardano will be a truly decentralized blockchain, layer 1, ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, and no longer under IOHK's management. Meaning, Charles, IOHK, all of these people that everybody pinned the hopes and dreams of Cardano on are no longer relevant in the grand scheme of the Cardano ecosystem. Instead, Cardano's future will be in the hands of the community, who will have everything they need to grow and evolve Cardano from a secure, decentralized basis established by IOHK. Now, this basically means that in the grand scheme, Cardano will become the most decentralized democratic blockchain in existence, all happening this year. This is a significant deal. Now, what does this mean in terms of blockchain ETFs? So, I am probably one of the few people out there, you'll have to let me know in the comments, but I am one of the few people out there in the crypto space that does not want a Cardano ETF. The reason for this is simple. When I think of a blockchain ETF and I think of, how the systems in crypto work and the very nature of what Cardano is built for, has been built for, and is about to finalize this year, I do not want major institutions to be able to dictate what happens on my blockchain, period. I see a lot of people out there on Twitter talking about Solana could be the next big spot ETF. Good. I hope it is, and rightfully so. I believe that Solana, quite frankly, is better suited to centralized control of institutions and ETFs than Cardano is. That's the honest truth. So for all of those out there in Solana world that want Solana to be the next spot ETF, more power to you. I hope it happens for you. I genuinely do. I do not want a Cardano ETF. I do not want institutions being able to basically change the way the democracy of Cardano is expected to and designed to function. I don't want Larry Fink or BlackRock to be able to gobble up all of this Cardano in the name of investors, of individual investors, and be able to basically establish the control associated with thousands, if not millions of people over time. That is not what Cardano has been designed for. Cardano has been designed so that the public has a voice in what happens throughout the rest of its lifespan. Okay. Not, well, we have, we have 3,119 pools with about 1 million delegators in Cardano right now. These are the people that are supposed to control the Cardano blockchain. Those that are delegating their ADA to these pools. Now, do I have a problem with BlackRock or any of these institutions launching their own pools? No, not necessarily. But what I don't want to see is 3 million more people who could very easily obtain their own ADA themselves, delegate to their own pools at will, and ultimately play alongside the rest of us in the way it's all been designed. I don't want to see these people basically, let's just say there are 2 million more people that start accumulating ADA. And 1.5 million of them are basically going to start buying Cardano through ETFs. And these ETFs are controlled by a very small number of people. Do we want half or even a 40% of the ADA that is currently out in the market? I'm going to have to crunch some serious numbers on this and see what is the potential. Because here's the thing. There's a short-sighted view of Cardano and then the long-term view of Cardano, in my opinion. I am a long-term view. I am somebody that knows and understands a lot more than I feel many do in the space, in the world, about what Cardano is being built and designed for, why its design and development approach has been the way it is, and I applaud it. I'm not somebody that looks to Cardano as like, I need to turn my 45 cents into $5 by, June 31st, or it's a dead chain to me, okay? I don't have that perception because I'm not that ignorant. That's just really how I look at it. I see the ebbs and flows of the Cardano blockchain price action, as it were, since 2017, and I'm completely fine with it. And the thing of it is I trust Cardano, IOHK, Cardano Foundation, Annie Murgo, to continue building an ecosystem from which so many in the world will thrive. And many are already starting to now. A lot of the price action up to now has been solely based off of the speculative nature of the cryptocurrency industry as a whole, and not necessarily based on the use cases provided by the various layer ones available. And it's those people, a lot of those folks that see crypto as an instant gratification gamified system of 10 cents to $10 tomorrow, are the ones that are calling for these ETFs, not really caring much about the control that's being established right before our very eyes by the institutions that we have established crypto to escape from to begin with. And that is what scares me. This instant gratification, this sense of, I must be able to put in $1 today and turn it into $10 tomorrow, and I don't care about what happens after that. That's the Solana crowd. That's the meme coin crowd. That's the mentality of those that ascribe to those types of blockchains that have little other use case other than a quick buck with no real long-term potential or value. That's just my opinion. But Solana to me is much more suited for a spot ETF than Cardano is. And I hope wholeheartedly that Cardano doesn't get an ETF, because it would empower the institutions off of the backs of the individual. And that is not what I want to see for Cardano. And you really shouldn't either. Because quite frankly, if there was a day where Cardano was to have 10 million delegators and the bulk of those what should be individual delegators to the various pools out there, okay, if that is going to be the future of Cardano, I don't want the bulk of that power sitting in the hands of a bunch of people that don't give a shit about me, my intellect, my intuition, my interests, my anything. What they're going to care about is themselves. And ultimately what's going to happen is I could see a lot of new Cardano holders looking to put Cardano in their retirement accounts or their retirement funds, especially as we see the degradation, the degrade in value of 401ks, Social Security, all of these basic Ponzi schemes that are ultimately coming to a halt. And you know, a lot of people on one side know it, a lot of people on the other don't. And there's been this fighting. But ultimately, these systems, these archaic systems, and basically taking care of you know, newly retired and the like, as we suffer through inflation, and our system overall is just breaking down from its core. These old school systems are no longer going to work. But who's in charge of a lot of these old school systems? The institutions ultimately that feed them. I don't want the decisions for what I believe is my future, my children's future, my grandchildren's future. I don't want that ultimately controlled and dictated by a handful of major institutions that can basically just say, hey, do you want Cardano in your retirement account? Look at all of this. Well, you can do this easily now through our ETF. Just contact your financial advisor, who probably doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground as it relates to blockchain tech, because they haven't even been allowed to be in the space since, I don't know, when I don't even remember when it was first like okay for them. It was been a year and a half, 2 years maybe, I'm not even sure. And until then, they weren't even allowed to hold crypto in private accounts, or they risk getting fired from groups like JP Morgan and the like. So now that the tide is turning and these spot ETFs are coming into play, and all of these institutions that just yesterday were adamantly against crypto now have their vehicles in line, which I said was coming. I said this years ago when they were all dumping on it to begin with. I've said this multiple times to date, that they are just trying to FUD the valuation and the price of these assets while they're getting their vehicles in play. Now they're doing something similar, but not so bad. They're basically saying, well, this could work, this could work, this could work. And they're doing that while they're basically loading their bags at a time when the market is just primed for a big explosion, so that they can then turn around in the next year or so and say, we told you so, this was going to be great. You invested through us. Look at all the gains we're providing for you. And in reality, they're just piggybacking off of the backs of those of us who've already been here and have already been preaching the gospel of Cardano and Bitcoin and Ethereum and other blockchains, to say this is the disruptive era of finance. This is the time when we separate ourselves from the institutions that have been driving these markets to shit, profiting off of the backs of the rest of us, and we no longer want to be a part of that system. We don't want to be a part of this central bank system where we're getting 3% or 0% nowadays off of our money that we can't even go in and just pull out anytime we want to, because that money has been loaned out 10, 20, 30 times over to all of these other banking institutions that they're ultimately profiting from the interest from. No, we want our own decentralized systems, so that if I want to basically use my money, my equity, my capital, and loan that out to people through a decentralized, trustless system, so that somebody that needs money now can borrow against it, putting their own crypto, their own capital up as stake, right? Up as God, I'm like, forget the term, collateral, excuse me. then that's okay. That's the system. And the public, the society as a whole is helping one another grow financially in a system that doesn't need a middleman. We don't need somebody messing with the numbers and profiting off of the backs of all of our work. Okay. And this is the system that the government to date has been trying to hold on to. And they're trying to basically say crypto is bad. Crypto people are bad. Everybody's bad. They're taking a very tiny fraction of the overall whole and then branding everyone because of it, right? There are people laundering money through cryptocurrencies and ETFs or not ETFs, I'm sorry, NFTs, right? There are people, there are bad actors in this space. There are hackers. There are people selling illicit items or things through the use of cryptocurrency to try and stay anonymous. There are people doing that. There are also people doing all of those same things in much more numbers using cash. So what we know of right now is we know that we have a system in play that is ultimately put up to try and benefit the people, to give us our own self-sovereignty as it relates to our own finances. And we have these institutions that see how it's continuing to grow against everything they've been attempting to do to try and keep it suppressed and down, and it hasn't worked. So now they're saying, okay, if we can't control it that way, we're going to control it this way. We're going to approve all of these ETFs, and we're going to try and control all of the top level blockchains out there that have the highest market capitalization, and we're going to slowly grow our holdings to basically establish control that way. And if there's any cryptocurrency out there that I think could be affected the most by these spot ETFs in a negative way, regardless of price go up, would the price of Cardano go up as institutions are buying billions and billions of dollars of it through their retirement funds and all of the people out there that want to have exposure to crypto? Yes, the number would go up. And for those of you looking for a quick turnaround in cash, you guys would love having a Cardano spot ETF. And there are going to be narratives established about how one blockchain is better than the other if one is picked over the other in the future for new, non-Ethereum ETFs. Okay. But I'm telling you right now that narrative is a fool's gambit. It is I hope Solana gets selected. I hope they launch one. I really hope they leave Cardano alone. Let's do an experiment, if you will. Maybe the number will go up, but how much power does a blockchain like Solana effectively actually have in terms of global use case? I'm sorry to break it to you folks, but just not much. Okay. And I do believe that if I'm sad to say that I do believe that the use case potential on a global scale for a variety of enterprise level adoption is Cardano, and it's going to be Cardano, and it's going to continue growing as Cardano as we continue to move through 2024 into 2025, and especially between now and 2030, which is where I think the shit is really going to hit the fan, where I feel like a lot of this real world asset tokenization narrative being established by folks like Larry Fink and BlackRock are really going to come to fruition. I think that is going to be the market that happens. And right now, I feel like they are laying out the groundwork for that market cycle. And they're doing that right now, today. And I do believe that it's very likely that they're probably at some point going to launch spot ETFs for a lot of the assets and the layer one assets that they believe is going to play a pivotal role in establishing that future. And unfortunately, I do see them launching some sort of Cardano ETF, which is great for everybody today, and it's great for the price, and it's great for all of that, but it's the control of the direction of the Cardano blockchain, as it were, after this market cycle that scares me. And the fact is that when Cardano goes truly decentralized and puts the power in the hands of the ADA holders and the delegators and the pools and all of that is able to be dictated by the people that are holding it and controlling it and running these pools and so forth and so on, then we're probably going, this is such a rabbit hole, folks, and it is a mind-boggling one. But I can see them launching a Cardano ETF, a series of Cardano ETFs, billions pouring into it. And a lot of people holding Cardano right now getting stupid rich, probably beyond any current measure we've known so far. $5 ADA, $8 ADA, $10 ADA, all of that could potentially go right out the window. And a lot of people could see, you know, significant increases in price beyond anything we've calculated to date. Because we've been calculating these potential outcomes based off of the market history. But these ETFs and these institutions are going to change the very fabric of how we look at cryptocurrency market capitalization as a whole very, very soon. And this market cycle, I think, is going to be one that I don't think any of us have expected to see. Okay, I really do. I think that's going to be the case. But we have to think about the future. We have to think about what happens after this market cycle. And that's where my interest is truly laying right now. So I'd love to know, what are your comments? What do you guys think? I've never polled anybody really on this. I've never really even shared my deep thoughts on what it means to have a spot ETF in Cardano or a system of them through all these institutional wings. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to help or hurt the Cardano ecosystem if these spot ETFs start targeting Cardano next? I, for one, am not for it. I think that we've built systems specifically to empower the public, to control their own finance, to control, you know what Cardano's been built and designed for. It doesn't need these spot ETFs to grow. But I'm curious, what are your guys' thoughts? I'd love to know. Until next time, guys and gals, thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And until next time, crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.